Warm welcome to the first of the Star Sports videos on the two Epsom Classics. Myself and Bill Esdale of City AM here are going to be previewing the Investec Oaks first of all, for which we have another Aidan O'Brien favourite for a classic, Bill. Maybe is the 5-2 favourite here at Star Sports, after coming third in the 1,000 guineas. Bill, 5-2 maybe interest you?
Yes, fun enough, she does interest me. Primarily because she was unbeaten the whole of last year. Disappointed a little bit in the 1,000 guineas when she finished third, but to my eyes she was running on. She was definitely outpaced that day, and she is very short in the betting, but there's been a lot of money for her in the last week, 2 weeks, from the same connections that saw Power obviously win the Irish Guineas last week. I've just got a feeling that the connections fancy this one to bounce back from a disappointment.
I couldn't disagree more. After the a disaster of my tipping in the Irish 2000 guineas, where I suggested anyone that backed Power was mentally ill, he duly obliged in the Irish 2000 guineas. I think anyone who backed maybe at 5-2 is beyond mentally ill. She's never won over further than 7 furlongs. It's only her second of the season. She hasn't proved she's trained on. There are other horses that have solid middle distance credentials. And I think at 5-2, she's a cracking lay, and here at Star will definitely be out together. Couldn't be having it at all at 5-2. Obviously, Joseph O'Brien will ride again, and I think there's a bit of value further down the field. Yeah,
possibly. I mean, I wouldn't be as confident as you are to say she won't win. I think generally she's the most likely winner. I think she will improve for the step up in trip. Epsom's always a question mark for any horse, whether she'll handle it or not. She was a special 2-year-old. I've still got images of her winning at Ascot. Ground doesn't seem to be a problem with her. I think she's pretty rock solid, but I know you're not keen. One you are keen on though is the Fugue, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I quite like the Fugue. I think she's got the most solid credentials for an Oaks winner. She won at York in the Moustora Group 3. She was very impressive that day, won by over 4 lengths at York. She only finished slightly behind maybe in the Guineas at Newmarket. She's definitely improved for the step up in trip. I can't quite work out why the Fugue is a bigger price than maybe, given that she's proved that she can handle the step up in trip. She's bred for middle distances, and I think I'd have her as favourite over maybe usually. The Fugue 11-4 with us. She's a bit bigger elsewhere, and I think if you get a match bet with the Fugue and maybe. I don't think the Fugue's great value at 11-4, but I think I'd love to back the Fugue at evens in a match bet with maybe. That would be one of my bets on the day.
Yeah, I mean the Fugue, this was a filly having the second run of her career in the 1,000 guineas. She ran an absolute blinder. She was checked to the key time. She ran on to get fourth. She was obviously in front of maybe that day who was back in where did she finish? 10th or where she finished?
Maybe it was third.
Maybe it was third, sorry, I've been bad, yeah, maybe it was third. The Fugue's gone on to win the Musadora impressively. Is she going to improve again for the step up in trip? That's the big question mark with her. The connections were going on a kind of bit of a mission to see whether she stays 10 furlongs, and now they're going to see whether she stays 12 furlongs. There's lots of question marks. Is she a guaranteed stayer? I'm not sure. Would I be wanting to take her, but back her at 5-2, 11-4? Still question marks for me at that price.
Fair enough. The next in the betting is Vow, of the William Haggis teaming up with Johnny Murty, who had last year's winner in Dancing Rain. Vow's had 2 starts, won a maiden at Newbury, and then won the Oaks Trial at Lingfield, which this year was unusually ran on the polytrack on the all-weather at Lingfield because the turf course was waterlogged. It's a bit of a muddling form line there. It's normally run on turf. And Vow at 5-1, Bill.
No, I wouldn't be so keen on Vow. I don't think the temperament issues are necessarily going to be the problem that people are flagging up. I mean, she hung a bit towards the stand side, but she was pretty impressive at Lingfield. She got the job done on only her kind of second start. She'll be going to Epsom on a third of a lifetime run. 5-1 seems a little bit skinny to me. If I'm honest, I'd rather be with maybe than I would with Vow. But I think she'll be there or thereabouts, but I wouldn't be backing her at that price.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, I know she's won a listed race. It was 8 run a listed race. She won fairly comfortably. At 5-1, I don't think there's a huge amount of juice. I think she's you're still backing her on potential more than actual substance, which I think, you know, with the Fugue and maybe, although obviously slated, maybe she has got, you know, Group 1 form there. I think I'd rather be on the Fugue than Vow at this stage, but you know, connections to be respected, especially after last year. And I think she'll attract a lot of support on the day, but I wouldn't be interested at 5s. And of course, next in the betting is Kissed, which is another Ballydoyle horse, won at Navan in a listed race, and won by a street, I seem to recall. A few negative vibes coming out this week about Kissed, I believe, Bill.
Yeah, I think well she's drifted. I mean, that's a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. They were, you know, Kissed and maybe were equal partners in the betting. Now, well, maybe it's heading towards a 5-2, 9-4 chance. Kissed is 9, 10, 11 to 1. The thing about Kissed is it was very soft ground when she won in October, and you know, whether the ground's going to be an issue for her. She obviously doesn't show the same sparkle as Maybe at home. I would be surprised if she beats Maybe. And I just wouldn't be interested in her at the prices.
I'd agree. I mean, she's won fairly soft races in Ireland. You know, it's the usual. The fact that AP O'Brien is the name on the race card makes her, you know, 7 to 1, and 7s with us is a big price. She's shorter elsewhere. You know, if it was a different, more obscure Irish trainer. I mean, I think Jessica Harrington got a horse for this last year. I can't remember, her name escapes me, but she has similar credentials to this horse, and she was double figures for this race.
Well, I think that just about in, the funny thing about Kissed was that she bolted up visually. I mean, it was nearly 10 lengths on her reappearance. Was slashed everywhere to 4-1 favourite for the Oaks. More bookmakers running for cover than on the form she achieved. And I think now what we're seeing is her actually going to the price she should have been. It was an overreaction to go 4 to 1. She probably should have been 9, 10 to 1, which is the price she's kind of balancing her way back out to. She's done nothing on the, you know, she's beaten nothing on the form boat, but she's won so easily. She could be anything. I mean, she is one of the ones I really wouldn't be surprised to see win a race like this. Ballydoyle, how often do they get it wrong in terms of knowing which one is their stronger filly? Sometimes they do, but you know, obviously with Homecoming Queen and the 1,000 guineas, but obviously the way they're working at home, I'm sure they feel maybe is the better filly.
Yeah, and the betting certainly suggests that. Moving on, next in the betting, the last one at single figures is Kaylani of Godolphin, trained by Mahmoud El Zarouni. Godolphin's only runner in both classics, which is quite unusual. This won a Yarmouth Maiden back end, and then won the Pretty Polly Stakes on Guineas weekend at Newmarket. Romped home by 7 lengths, beating a bunch of exposed performers, but you couldn't have asked any more of her the way she won the race. She'd probably be the one I'd be most interested in of the kind of front few in the betting, really. 8 to 1 of us, a bit bigger elsewhere, I believe. I'd be backing her elsewhere. I understand Barcelona keeps the ride, and Totori isn't riding Epsom. Barcelona obviously knows his way around Epsom in a classic after last year's victory at Cornwall. I might be kind of clutching at straws a bit, but I noticed this race, David Ellsworth horse exposed was Salford Art, I believe, was just behind, a few places behind Kaylani. And although the ground was soft at Newmarket, she's a good benchmark being exposed filly, and she was actually beaten further by Kaylani at Newmarket than she was by the Fugue at York. Obviously the ground was a bit quicker, but I don't know whether that really warrants the Fugue being 11 to 4 and Kaylani being 8 to 1. And I think at the prices, when there's a bit of 10 to 1 about Kaylani out there, she's the one who interests me the most, I think, of the front few in the betting. And you know, I think with the way that maybe, in my opinion, is over bet, Kaylani could represent a good each way bet.
Yeah, she could well be, and the fact that Frankie isn't at the saddle probably get a better price.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing that worries me about Kaylani is that this is a filly who hosed up at Newmarket, but it'd been raining all day. The race was run well after the Guineas. It was 4 o'clock plus, so the ground was at its worst at Newmarket. She had the strip of ground that Homecoming Queen had, that faster strip towards the far side. Is she flattered by that win? There were a lot of fillies making her seasonal reappearance. She was fully wound up. The Godolphin horses were flying at the time. The filly of Charlie Hills, that she beat, Hazel Lavery, is no superstar. She put the race to bed quite quickly. She did everything right. They've coughed up the money to supplement her, I believe, this week anyway. I just don't know
I
if
think
she
she can afford it though.
Yeah, I think they can afford it. It's just whether she's quite good enough. I, in my heart of hearts, feel that it may have been, an exaggerated margin of victory at Newmarket. I think she may be a tiny bit flattered, and I don't think she'll necessarily be in the class of the top 2 fillies.
Fair enough. Interesting point you make about the strip of ground at Newmarket. And I also think there's a lot of people, dismiss the idea, but there's a possibility she'll bounce off that as well.
Could well do.
You see a lot of wide margin first time up horses do bounce, and she may be one there. The one other horse at a price that I quite like, I think we've covered the first few in the betting now. We're just going to have a quick flick through the outside to see if me and Bill can pick out any 25-to-1 winners for you. The one I quite like at a price is Aidan O'Brien's third string, and it's Better, Better, Better. She's run 3 times. She's only raced as a 3-year-old. She ran at Leopardstown, I believe, when she was third. She then won very impressively at Dundalk. She then went off the back of that to the Cheshire Oaks, where the ground was horrible at Chester. I think you were at Chester.
I was there that day,
and it really, it was solid, wasn't it, up there?
Yeah, it was very solid.
She got beat by a Mark Johnston filly called Good Morning Star, who was what, rated 78?
Something like that, not less.
Yeah, so, looking at the face of that, she got beaten by a 78 rated horse. How on earth can you be putting her up to win that? But I think the ground that day is an excuse. It was a bit of a weirdly run race, and a bit of a stop-start. And I think, at 33-40-1, back on quick ground, which I think she'll prefer. And we mentioned in the Irish Guineas video, a lot of these Aidan O'Brien fillies, they get on a bit of a momentum and start improving when you don't expect them to. Homecoming Queen being one, Peeping Fawn, who came second in this a few years ago.
She had a similar profile.
She had a very similar profile, although she mainly been racing over a mile, I believe. But I think Better, Better, Better could be one at a price that's been a bit. People have kind of dismissed it as she got beaten in the Cheshire Oaks.
That's not enough,
It's not. So why would she take a hand in this? But I think if you put a line through that, and she came off here for the Dundalk race without having run at Chester, she'd probably be shorter than 33. Arguably ridiculous.
I wouldn't dismiss that at all.
And I think she'd be the one each way. I think there's a bit of 40-1 out there. Each way would be Better, Better, Better would be my outsider in the race. Any outsiders for you, Bill?
Just on Better, Better, Better. It's not a crazy suggestion. I was at Chester. I was actually on her that day. Not riding, but backing her.
I hope you're not on Friday.
Yeah, exactly. I thought she was a little bit disappointing. I thought she should have won the race. When she there was 10 or 15 strides at the end where she could have put the race to bed and didn't, and that's the only thing that worries me. I know it's the ground, and they're saying that she came to, she arrived in front too soon, or whatever it may be. I just worry that she didn't get the job done. Now, I'm not saying she won't improve. I'm not saying she's not the value in the race. The one thing I'd say to people, and David's a great judge, wait till the day, have a look at the market and react to it quickly, because if they come for this horse each way, like they tend to do, you'll know she's right. Peeping Fawn was smashed off the ball on those days.
Destroys.
So they love the connection to a notorious Shrudies, as it were, and they may well come each way for this horse, and could be the value each way.
I think we've covered up. Any outsiders?
I
nearly cut Bill off before he's about to tip on 40-1 winner.
Yeah, I was just going to give you the one horse interested me is Scirocco Star. I felt this is a Hughie Morrison's horse. She should have won at Newbury last time out. Darrell Holland appeared on the scene a little bit late, to put it politely. Hughie Morrison, the trainer, was very, very quick to take responsibility afterwards. He said it was his fault. He asked Darrell to appear very late on the scene, and Hayley Turner won it on the horse of the Queen's. She stays all day, and over the years it often pays to be with a filly that stays the 1.5-mile trip. And for me, there are a few question marks over a whole lot of the front 2 to start with. There's question marks over everyone. I think Scirocco Star at the prices. The ground would be a tiny bit of a worry if it was too quick, but 2-day meeting at Epsom, they'll need to have the ground good at least on the first day, because they won't want to be watering Tapman Corner overnight on Friday. I just think Scirocco Star around the 20-1 mark. She'll stay all day. It'll be that one that appears down the centre of the track to stay on into the places and maybe more. I think she's the value of 20-1.
Okay, there we go then. So for Bill, maybe to win the race, but each way outsider is Scirocco Star. For me, I think the Fugue will win, but I don't think there's a terrific amount of value at 11-4. I'd be backing her in a match bet with maybe though. Probably have it with Bill after this. Or I think Kaylani's a bit of value, but I think the main bet of the race for me is at a massive price is better. But I put up about 4 bets.
We've picked up 5 of the 14, so that's better.
Well, here in the office, we'll definitely be able to get maybe. She's 5-2 at the moment. I'd imagine we'll be laying that for as long as we can. Whatever you fancy, do give us a call. 08000 521 321. Whatever you fancy in the Oaks, or for the rest of the Epsom card. And good luck whatever you back.